So, yet more information about WrestleMania 40 has come out, maybe, but at this juncture, we have to remember nobody knows what's going on, and I include WWE in that too. I don't think this was ever the plan, but we've got here. As of right now, it's really fun. But this WrestleMania 40 teaser trailer did drop.
I choose you, Roman Reigns.
That's all I can show you before YouTube gets really mad, and you should watch the whole thing. So like 45 seconds, and it's pretty cool. And the one thing it kind of makes clear is that no matter what we're going to do, there is going to be some kind of combination of The Rock and Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and Seth Rollins. Now look, we have to be getting Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns on night 2 at WrestleMania 40, right? If WWE backtrack now, people are going to lose their minds, and rightfully so. I mean, they lost their minds when we did this a couple of weeks ago, and that's how it ended up here. But it does mean the big talking point is, what do we do with WrestleMania night 1? And if we are to believe this teaser, surely it has to be a tag team match between the Bloodline, which hilariously is now The Rock and Roman Reigns, and they're going to be take on the even more hilariously formed team of Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. It's where I stare off into the distance and I say to myself, what the flub is going on? Now in reality, I really like this. I think it's super duper fun, as we've already talked about, and not in my wildest dreams did I ever think this would be the case if The Rock did come back to WWE. Now I don't care if this is a retcon, I don't care if we're moving around pieces retroactively. Whoever, and it may have been Dwayne Johnson for all we know, decided to make The Rock heel, this was the way to do it, because it feels fresh, it feels fun, and if this is going to be his last run, which you have to imagine it will be just because of how life works, then it almost ties in to how he first came onto the scene after he blew up in 1996 or 1997 after he came back from his injury and joined the Nation of Domination, and that's wonderful full circle stuff. And given that that is the version of The Rock we all fell in love with, well, you may as well do it now, otherwise when the flub are we going to do it? Also though, if you did watch the press conference that they did last Friday, we did get a bit of the wisecracking Rock, because he went on the Pat McAfee show and he said some funny stuff about the Cody crybabies.
But The Rock says this, those Cody crybabies, the ones for every 10 tweets, they're shoving a chicken McNugget in their mouth.
But when he dropped his "it doesn't matter" line, he did it all mad and he did it all menacing. I was like, oh wow, I've never seen that version of The Rock before. Kind of feel like he's going to sneak into my house and whoop my ass. But that's cool too, because do not forget that wrestling is all about reinvention. And I actually think what's going to happen on the road to WrestleMania is some cities is that Cody Rhodes is going to get crazy cheers. I think he's going to get cheered regardless. But there are going to be some boos, and sometimes The Rock is going to turn up and most people are going to be going boo, but some people will be going brahmable because they are actually into the guy. Because do not forget, look, I want to make it very, very clear, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns Part 2 is the thing to do at WrestleMania 40, but there are a contingent of people that saw we were going to do The Rock versus Roman Reigns, and they were like, oh, hi. This is going to be absolutely fantastic, because of course it is. I mean, what we have to remember is The Rock has like, what, 400 million followers on Instagram? He is bigger than WWE as a single entity. I'm going to use the comparison that I always use. When The Rock does anything, my mum texts me and she says that actor is involved in pro wrestling again. Now, she remembers when I used to watch when I was young. She knows who The Rock is, but she hasn't made this connection. And it tickles me so much, I just let her go with it. I think it's nice. But of course, it means the big outlier here is what the hell does The Rock do at WrestleMania 40? Because of course he is going to be involved. So I totally believe that the tag team match is the right thing to do, especially because it opens the door for so much opportunity down the line. Now look, I don't like going, oh my gosh, that wrestler was so gassed. Have you ever done wrestling? It's so hard. I wrestle most weekends, and in the week and obviously over Saturday and Sunday, I do my best to get my cardio up, and after 5 minutes, I'm still going, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. So I ain't going to start pointing the finger of doom at people that may be or may not be able to be in better cardio shape. Everybody is trying. Unless you've done it yourself, I really do think that is one area that we need to place over here. All criticism is totally fine, but sometimes experience does open your eyes up to new revelation. That's just the truth, right? But if you do put The Rock in a tag team match, you obviously haven't had a quote-unquote proper match in over a decade. You are going to be able to have some smoke and mirrors, which, you know, you kind of do want here. But also, you are getting something that, like I say, we never thought was on the table. And I mean that full pun intended. And I think when you do bring back somebody of the magnitude of The Rock, these are the kind of things we should be doing, especially because you can do The Rock versus Roman Reigns later on down the line. So let's say we do it like this. Night 1 is The Rock versus Roman Reigns. That's wrong. Rock Roman Reigns taking on Cody and Seth. It doesn't matter what you do. You can screw somebody over. You can have some fun. Maybe The Rock kind of makes a mistake, whip, bam, bubbly bomb, and all of a sudden Cody and Seth win. Now I'd imagine the Bloodline would get the victory, given what we're going to do on Sunday night. What I absolutely would do on night 2 is somehow The Rock reveals, haha, this was all a trick, something better than that. This is why I don't don't write the shows. He stops the bloodline from getting involved. That's Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. Does not touch Roman Reigns because 1, you want to hold it off when you do the proper match, and 2, it protects Cody. He has to beat Roman clean in the middle of the ring. But once the outside interference has finally been negated, which has been the problem for the last 7,942 years, Cody Rhodes hits the crossroads, probably 3 of them, because he loves doing that. 1, 2, 3, and then Cody is your champion. Cody and The Rock can embrace, and then hey, we can go to SummerSlam or wherever the flub you want to do it, and we do Roman Reigns versus The Rock. One of them wins, it doesn't matter. Get to WrestleMania 41, you do the match again, and the other one wins, and then we all go home skipping through the bush. Now that's probably why they would win on night 1, because then technically it's 3 matches and it's all balanced out, and look, let's face it, there are egos to take into consideration here. Now I understand that is proper pie in the sky fantasy booking because The Rock is a busy man and he has a crazy schedule, but if we do plan it now, I don't see the reason why we can't do it, because he is, 51, 52 years old. Very sadly, it's going to happen to all of us. We do have a closing window. There's so much fun you can have here. You also turn this year's SummerSlam into an absolute beast, and as we keep banging on about, WWE is desperate basically to make SummerSlam Summer WrestleMania. I bet if they could call it SummerMania, that's what they do right now, but we're not able to do that. Having The Rock involved only going to help. It could also happen in Saudi Arabia. That's a conversation for a different time. But as soon as that teaser trailer came out, I was like, well, if you're not doing something like this, once again, kind of just going to trick people. But so far, every time they have been backed into a corner, they have come out swinging. But all I know is that I'm super excited about this. I think the only contentious point will be, should it be the actual main event of night 1? Because you can have people advocating for Bayley versus Io Sky. I totally understand that. Really the last of the long-term stories after all the nonsense that did happen with Cody. And they've made it abundantly clear that we're going to do Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch, which some people on the internet have decided they don't want. What is WrestleMania for if we're not going to do stuff like Becky versus Rhea? That thing is going to rule. But ultimately, I think given that it is The Rock, he probably will put himself on the main event and over both nights. And look, that did work really well with Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 38. So maybe they've used that as some kind of a template. And again, 12 months down the line, The Rock can do his one-on-one match. And otherwise, I'm not sure what else we even could do. Are you going to do Seth Rollins versus The Rock on night 1 and The Rock becomes the World Heavyweight Champion? Now, look, come closer. We absolutely should do that because the internet will totally melt down. Because I'm a terrible person and because I like chaos and because I'm Dr. Robotnik. Anytime that does happen, just have the best time. Because look, there are things that I want from wrestling and there are things that I don't want. But when the entire community just implodes, I sit back like that popcorn gif. I'm just having the best time. Because like I say, wrestling is my biggest of all passions, but it is the most important of the least important things. I just have a doddle with it. So give me more of that. It puts me to sleep at night. If the whole point of all of this, though, is to get numbers up and to get people talking and to increase awareness, I actually think WWE is smashing it. And even though WrestleMania 40, I'm sure, was already on track to be the most watched and the most profitable and the most sponsored WrestleMania ever, I think with all this extra noise, it's probably going to smash through whatever expectations WWE had, and that's good for everyone. And what I really hope that management are doing, and there's no reason to think they wouldn't do this, is that they are understanding the star power The Rock brings and saying when people go away, make sure they're talking about Cody Rhodes, make sure they're talking about Seth Rollins, and make sure they're talking about Roman Reigns to a lesser degree, not in a bad way, but I think that once Roman loses his Mega Super Championship, he'll go away for a while, and that's mostly because he's coming to the end of his, not his career, but the end of his super duper run. And like I say, Cody and Seth can then take up that ball, with Cody being the face of SmackDown and Seth Rollins being the face of Raw. So if you know the long-term plan is invested in those two, you want to try and give the rub to them. It's that classic wrestling tale. So there is plenty of upside to this, and there is plenty of positive Pete love we can throw on it. But when I saw that teaser came out, I was like, okay, well, they are trying to tell us something. And I am recording this before the 12th of February, 2024 Raw, and I'm sure we're going to get loads more there, because of course this is the first time in a while Cody can come out and do a big promo, and yes, he needs to explain why he said, I'm not going to fight you at WrestleMania, Roman, and then 4 days later, whatever it was, but actually I was lying. I am totally going to do it, although I do think there's a built-in story there as well. He talked to The Rock. The Rock said, oh man, I need to take on Roman Reigns for whatever reason, but it'd be about family, it'd be about royal whatever thing, and then he sees him being all buddy-buddy with Roman and saying, oh, my Anoa'i family is the best, and Cody's like, that's not what you said. You said you were doing this for legacy of all the professional wrestling families, and you stabbed me in the back. That's why I marched out there with no music to give you what for, and then eventually got slapped around the face. Now, that's interesting too, because if we do the scenario I did lay out, at some point, Cody Rhodes has to slap The Rock back or give him something, because you have to have comeuppance. Otherwise, a heel is not a heel. But like I say, I'm all good with this. I think so far, WWE has nailed the beats pretty damn well, apart from the first thing they did. But ever since then, they've come out fighting, and I would give them a massive thumbs up. Because as long as I'm interested, and as long as I'm intrigued, and as long as they can make sense of some of the things that at the moment are 2 + 2 = potato, then that's all that matters. And I know that when I am in Philadelphia in that stadium for both nights. If this is what is quite literally on the cards, I'm going to be damn pumped, and I'm going to have anticipation level of about 92. And of course, that's pretty high because the maximum is 100. You know all this. But it's changed so much. I'm certainly not going to hang my hat on any of this. We can wake up tomorrow and somehow R-Truth is in the main event, and I wouldn't get mad about that either. Listen, he's like early 50s now. If somebody wants to give him one last big title run before he does retire, this bald idiot ain't gonna complain. Now, of course, more importantly than all of this is I need to know what your opinions are. Let's keep it to a simple yes or no question if you have got this far in the video. Otherwise, you already go crazy. I appreciate that. Is night one main event of WrestleMania going to be The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins? It's a yes, it's a no. You can't say maybe. I'm taking that off the table. Did it again. Didn't mean to. Go. Also, please do click the bell, ding, ding, notification squad. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the damn video on the screen to get all my thoughts on the build-up so far. Otherwise, you know the deal. It is GorillaMind.com/Simon. Use code Simon to get 10% off, or you can get 20% off at the moment when it comes to the brand new multivitamins they've launched. I know it was a bit weird when I start talking about fitness, but of all the supplements I tell people to take, creatine, yes, multivitamin, yes. And given how much I love Gorilla Mind, haven't tried it yet, if this isn't one of the best multivitamins ever, I'll be damn surprised. It's also patreon.com/Simon316. Instagram and Twitter is Simon316. Simon J. Miller on TikTok, Simon Miller on Cameo. We are 2 days from Valentine's Day. I'll say hello and I love you to your loved one, should you want, as weird as that sounds. Merchandise is pro wrestling tees and Samson Athletics, and anything you could do to support the video, I would appreciate. So make sure you enjoy the road to WrestleMania, my friends. I don't think we're going to get one this nuts for a long ass time, so you may as well just put your socks on and enjoy the ride. Otherwise, your feet will be cold. Goodbye.